So breaking news, Microsoft just dropped their storage costs for OneLake Storage. I'll show you how this works and what is happening. Okay, so for the past couple of years since Microsoft Fabric and OneLake were in effect, the OneLake storage costs were built at the same rate as Azure Data Lake Storage or Blob Storage accounts in Gen 2 hot tiers. And that worked out to approximately 2.2 or 2.5 cents per gigabyte per month, depending on the region and your currency and so on. Data lakes, however, there is a need to perhaps lower your storage bill by moving old data that you do not access frequently into a slower but cheaper storage tier. So you can move from SSD to HDD drives, for example. And since today, this is happening with Microsoft Fabric OneLake as well. Let me show you on my laptop. So we are looking at Microsoft Fabric right now. I am in a workspace called Data Platform Synapse Link. It doesn't really matter what it is just a workspace that we use to ingest data out of a Synapse Link workspace in ADLS. And what we can do these days is we can go to Workspace Settings, then go to OneLake, then go to Lifecycle Management. This is a new menu. And here we're still in the preview, but anyway, we can make it work already. Here we can add lifecycle rules. And a lifecycle rule, I think the most important one is to move older data in your data lake into cold or cool storage. So let's start creating a lifecycle rule. We click on the big plus button. We give it a name and we say archive old data. And we will do either the entire workspace or filter by path or by diagnostic events. Let's do filter by path. I want my Delta tables in the gold layer to be accessible anytime. I want to move my raw file storage, the Parquet files and JSONs and CSVs and so on that I get in my landing zone. I want to move those into colder storage as they age. So we will do filter by path. And from here we can say, and we need to put in the name of our lakehouse. So we do KDF LH, that's in this case the name of my lakehouse, .lakehouse / files, because I want to put the entire file section of my lakehouse into colder storage as it ages. For Delta tables, I'm perfectly fine with having them in hot storage. Then we need to put in actions. Now we can say, based on the created, modified, or access date, when we need to move our files. Because this is a landing zone, I want just to archive all the older extracts that we've been doing out of the source systems. I will say if the file was created less than, let's say 14 days ago, I want to move the data to cool storage. And I will create another action where I say if the file was created more than 30 days ago, I will move into cold storage. And now when we save this, the rule will be created and the data will be moved according to these rules. If we have very old data that is older than 14 days or 30 days, it will be automatically moved by Microsoft Fabric into cheaper storage. Now, what is this cheap storage? Let's find out. We can go to the Microsoft Fabric pricing page here. And what we can see here are the capacity pricing. That's not really interesting for now. But we can see here that our storage tiers used to be 2.3 cents in dollars per gigabyte per month. And that is now called not OneLake Storage, but hot storage. So the regular storage that you've been used to is now renamed to hot storage. And we got additional cool storage and cold storage. And cool storage is just 1.25 cents per month per gigabyte. And cold storage is only 0.5 cents per gigabyte if we are in Central US in US dollars. Let's move to my home region, which is West Europe, and we will pay in euros. And let's see what the prices are then. We will then be paying 0.206 cents in euros per gigabyte or 0.1 or 0.43. So it is really worth it if you have large archives, you have loads and loads of data of very old and stale data that you need to keep in your archive for auditing purposes or for the occasional reload purpose. But you don't need to access it on a daily basis anymore. I think we should be always enabling the storage tiers and the lifecycle management on all of our workspaces like so. And depending on your use case, you will pick the number of days after which you want to move to cool and then to cold storage. I think with most of my customers, I will be picking 7 days for cool storage and then 14 days or maybe 30 days for cold storage, because usually what we do is we load on a daily basis or multiple times per day. So data that we've extracted last week is already not being loaded into the data warehouse tables anymore. Your mileage might vary. Pick your own strategy for archiving, but do know that this will be a very handy tool to save a little bit on OneLake storage costs. My name is Bas Land, I am that Fabric guy here, and if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. That's really helping me grow this channel, and I'll see you next week.